The works of art that I am going to introduce today are the Buddhas of Bamiyan. Located in the cliffs bordering the central Bamiyan Valley in Afghanistan, and nestled between the Hindu Kush Mountains, the two larger-than-life Buddha statues stood 55 meters and 38 meters tall, or about 180.5 feet and 124.5 feet, respectively. These cliffs were also home to hundreds if not thousands of caves, which were used as Buddhist monasteries, chapels, and sanctuaries, and were linked by tunnels. Inside the tunnels were some of the world's oldest surviving oil paintings and seated Buddha statues, preserved by the arid climate and protected by the thick cave walls of the cliff. The giant Buddha cliff statues are some important examples of the Gandharan school of art from the 6th century CE. They are made primarily of the sandstone in the cliffs, but smaller details were molded out of a mud and straw mixture, and coated with stucco, which was once painted to emphasize the figure but has since worn off. Some parts of the statues, such as the limbs, were made solely out of mud and straw, but were supported by large wooden beams or pegs. The holes that once held these beams can be seen in pictures. The larger statue was called Solsol, and the smaller was called Shamama. The particular names were identified using the mudras shown, or the positions. You may be wondering at this point why I am talking about the two statues in the past tense. Unfortunately, this is because they have both been destroyed in the not-so-distant past. In March of 2001, Taliban fighters destroyed the works of art using dynamite after orders from the Taliban government designated them as idols. Prisoners were forced to do the dangerous and unfortunate work of wiring the explosives in the statues, which had drilled holes, under threat of being killed. One of the statues did not explode as planned, and the subsequent days were spent trucking in extra dynamite, as the Taliban leaders were determined to finish what they started. The destruction of religious or cultural idols is called iconoclasm, and this particular example is seen as one of the most devastating occurrences of iconoclasm in the modern world. Moving forward, there is much debate over whether or not the Buddhas should be rebuilt. On the left, you can see the outline of the larger Buddha after it was destroyed, and on the right, you can see the outline of the smaller Buddha after it was destroyed. You can see a little bit of the outline of the actual statue, but most of it has actually been destroyed. Among the supporters of reconstruction are Japan and Switzerland, but many argue that the empty holes should be left as a reminder of the religious destruction caused by terrorism and intense conflict. For the time being, scaffolding is in place to protect the cavern from falling in on itself while authorities decide what steps to take, whether it be preservation or of the remaining artifacts or restoration to the Buddha's former state. Here you can see the scaffolding that was put in place, made out of wood and steel. Here you can also see a before and after of the Buddha, the larger Buddha, before it was destroyed and then after it was destroyed. Just this past year, on June 7, 2015, a Chinese couple developed and displayed a holographic 3D light model of the Buddha as it might have originally looked, sparking new interest in the history surrounding the Bamiyan Valley. The remaining pieces of the Buddhas, collected after the explosions, are in safekeeping as experts figure out what will happen next in the continuing story of the statues overlooking the valley. Thank you.